Hi, and welcome to the Aortic Kitchen. I am Chef Rob Seltzer, the Aortic Chef.
I am Mindy Seltzer, the aortic dietitian.
And we want to welcome you back since we've been on vacation for a month.
That's
Sort
not
of.
true.
I know, we weren't on vacation, we were moving. And if you've been following us, you'll see that we're in a brand new kitchen, or even a studio, as some people said earlier today when they saw the layout. So we're going to be working with this, and hopefully this will give you a lot better view and image of what we're doing. Tonight we are celebrating springtime. So we're coming up on Easter and Passover and all that. So one of the traditional meals is to have lamb. So I'm going to do some stuff with lamb. I've got a leg of lamb that I'm going to butcher a little bit and then stuff and roll and get it ready for the oven. It'll be a wonderful roast. And Mindy is going to do dessert. She's going to do first. She's going to make a classic old French dish from
Limousine.
Limousin. Think of a limousine.
Limousine.
Limousin France. And it's called a
clafoutis.
Okay, go for it.
You may use any type of fruit, but today we're using strawberries. First thing you do, which I've already done, is clean the berries, cut off the stems, and lay them in a plate. The traditional recipe is with dark cherries and pits in it, so that the cherries do not bleed into the topping, which is almost like a crepe and a cake all in one. So the first thing we're going to do is beat our eggs. Yeah.
Straight up and down.
I got that.
Besides the new house, we got new equipment we haven't used yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is beat the eggs. I'm going to slowly add the sugar so it's well blended. And as you see, now that I got the hang of it, we went from a single feed stick to a variable feed stick. As soon as the eggs are beaten in, I'm going to turn it off a little bit
And grab my next ingredient, which is going to be, you could put a pinch of salt in it, but as usual, we don't add too much to that. The next thing I'm going to add is I sifted the flour through a little sifter to make it light, and I'm going to add that slowly. If I can get my mixer to work slowly.
Put it in. Just there.
Please do. I set the oven at 350 degrees, so it's ready for us. Sugar, eggs, and flour are all mixed together. Thank you, dear. We are going to add the butter. And the last ingredient will be milk. You can grab me the milk first. And we're slowly going to add the milk into the mix as well.
And it's basically a custard with a little flour into it, or a crepe, whatever you'd like to call it. So this is all completed. When we're done with this, I also missed a step that I told you. I started earlier and I greased the pan very well with butter. Cut the strawberries, and if you see, I just cut off the bottom a little bit so they all sit flat in the pan. I'm going to take my wonderful mixture that I just made and slowly pour it all on top of the strawberries.
Now, is that enough butter to really be a problem for most of our
If this is
viewers?
the only fat you're using in your meal, it should not be too much of a problem.
Butter, because the rest of the meal we're going to use olive oil and whatever. So,
Hello, strawberry.
oh, he fell over.
He fell over.
You didn't need this.
No, I did not. And then
Sheet pan to put that on.
we could try it with a sheet pan.
Excuse me while I walk up the camera.
Actually, I could grab it.
I have.
Okay.
Sheet pan is so we don't have
To clean the oven.
I'm just, yeah, assuming this is going to spill. Let's move to the
We're
other.
being hopeful that it won't.
There you go. Okay, oh,
Ah,
he wants
two
to lay down.
strawberries. That
He's
one wants
tired.
to, he's tired. Okay.
So in the recipes, it even says this only takes 10 minutes of preparation, and now it goes in the oven for
45 minutes. So that's why we started right away. You may use any berry you like. Blueberries, strawberries, you can use mixed berries. You can put blueberries, strawberry, and blackberries are gorgeous right now. Don't hesitate to use blackberries.
any fruit you wish. I've seen recipes and read about the history of this. It hasn't really, this clafouti has been made for several hundred years.
The 17th century? I
Yeah,
think it
and,
started.
yep. So they've used everything. They've used, you can use peaches, you could, any fruit you like. And then I have one chef that has actually taken this, and there's a big discussion about, is it really clafouti? Because she started making it savory. So kind of like a quiche, but not a quiche because there's no cheese in it. But it's got the eggs and the milk and then some flour to hold it together. And it's absolutely delicious and wonderful. So, and if you like the texture of this clafouti compared to a quiche, instead of, so it's
Do what
also
you
an option.
like.
And they said, well, then it's a, they were arguing about whether it's a tart or if it's a clafouti.
They can't say
or-
it's a clafouti unless you use cherries from Limousin region,
Right, true, the morel cherries.
the morel cherries that are only grown there. So it's in the oven and I'm going to turn it over to Chef Rob.
Right, here we go. So, as I promised, we're gonna do some lamb. It's springtime. Many of you may want to try this. Some of you won't. This is what is called it's a leg of lamb, and it's in our business, they call it BRT, bone, rolled, and tied. So that's basically it. The leg bone has been, the hips have been taken out, and it's been rolled together and then tied with this. It has this lovely little net on it. Now, I'm not gonna be able to use that net, so we're gonna take it off. I have in the past, like, just peeled it back and then used it the second to put it back on after I'm done. But what I'm doing tonight is gonna be too big. So we can just cut it off with our very sharp knife. Yes, I have a boning knife and I have a chef's knife here, which are very important to both of these. Because this is big. This is a 7.5 pound lamb roast. And that's way too big for Mindy and I, even for our family. That 7.5 pounds is probably enough to feed 12 people. Okay. I'm talking shrink and trim and all of that. Okay. You could probably get 15 if you really wanted to, maybe 20. And how do we do that? What's the big trick when you're doing that to make the meat go farther? What do you think it is we got to do?
I think we need to add more vegetables.
Exactly. It's all about the sides. We have to put more sides on the table.
I'm going to add one more thing to this.
Go right ahead. I need to dry my
I
hands.
need to put a couple dollops of butter, as much as you want on top, and it helps make it a little crispier.
Okay, so while Mindy's doing that, I will continue here. Okay, so here's the lamb leg. We've got at this end here, this is the hip, and down here is closer to the shank. Now you can buy lamb legs that are shank end or hip end or thigh. This is more down towards the shank because I can see how small it's getting. But you can see how it's been cut, and see how the leg bone has all been removed. They've done a lot of work on that. Now, I also, when I buy this was not too expensive. It was marked down for the holidays. And I got it at one of that very large club retailer. Okay. I do buy these every once in a while, so I can I cut them up. I butcher them. Like, I'm going to take this piece here at the hip end because it's got the nicer meat, because you can make chops out of it. Nice thing about lamb is that the meat is all tender. Okay. Now, if you get too high up, some of it may have a little cartilage or sinew, but you'll see. So this is, I can cut chops out of this. I can cut slices and make lamb chops that we can have for another meal. Or you can even take some of the odd pieces and dice them up for lamb kebabs or lamb stew or whatever you like to do. But it's all tender, whether it's the loin or it's the leg and all that. It's all really pretty tender, especially since this lamb is from Australia, and the Australian and the New Zealand lamb are always much more tender than the American lamb because they are younger. In the out there in the real new world, Australia and New Zealand, they have a different classification for lamb. If we send our lamb that's raised here, like in Colorado and Montana up there, they would call that mutton. Because in New Zealand, Australia, they slaughter the lamb at like 60 days, okay? Ours, they go 90, 120, they're much bigger because we like bigger pieces of meat. And you want bigger pieces of meat, you got to have a bigger animal. So, but you sacrifice that sweet flavor of a young lamb, which is what it's all about. People talk about, oh, lamb's so gamey. It's because they've had the older ones. They're eating sheep. They're not eating lamb necessarily. So,
The other dish you did not mention
what?
was shepherd's pie.
Yes, well, that's if you grind it. Yeah.
You could do a small diced meat.
So there's a couple different muscles here. Put this to the side for a minute. Here, let me have my rack back.
Got it?
Okay, I got it. Just gonna put this up here on the side. Right where it was. Oh, I wasn't wearing gloves, but I guess I'm not. So got a couple different muscles here. So I can separate this into by the muscle parts. Just open it up. You just follow the lines in a piece of meat. It'll pretty much tell you where to go. Because this is a nice little piece right here. Make nice chops. So doesn't matter. So I'm just kind of spreading this open. And cut down through that cover fat that was there. It's really not that hard. See, it came right apart. So this is nice. There we go. I can trim off some of this fat. I'm using my boning knife, the small piece. Lamb fat is delicious. You know, it's where they get lanolin from. The cream that you put on your hands and use for babies. Lanolin is just purified lamb fat. And it's very, very good. Isn't there something special about lamb, honey, like for babies? What is it about lamb?
It is probably the first digestible meat for small children. It's the least reactive of the proteins.
Yeah. So if you're a young mother or you got kids that are young mothers, and they eventually want to introduce meat to their infant, what age are you talking about, Mindy?
8 months.
Okay.
When they're sitting up and they're able to start grab things by themselves,
Okay.
sitting up totally by themselves, they've gone through all the vegetables. Started on the rices. Well, you start on the cereals first and then go to the vegetables, then to the meats.
Okay. So then that first meat, really, lamb is a great idea. We'll leave little fat on here because the lamb fat is very flavorful and you can always trim it off on your plate. So I'm just gonna get a couple of nice thin chops out of this piece here. Let's say I go about 1 knuckle.
It's your fingernails, right?
Yes.
Okay.
See, there's a nice piece of meat. And we can probably just get maybe 2 more. Not a lot, but just Mindy and I, so 1 each. There, there's a nice little dinner right there that we have. But you can see, and even if you could curl it and tie it, but I'm not going to mess with that. We could just throw that on the grill, boom, boom, and have a nice little lamb chop there. This piece I could either save for grilling, or if I wanted to, I can just put it into pieces and we start having some stuff for stew or for kebabs. Now, what I have left is the shank end. Any questions on that? Everybody's good? So I want to stuff this I'm gonna have to clean it up a little bit, pull a little of this inside fat out.
When you buy it from a market, will they clean that fat for you?
Oh, if you ask them to, yeah, they're gonna charge you like mad.
Sometimes retail grocery stores will have it pretty lean as it is compared to what we purchased. Because we took the whole leg,
Well, yeah, whatever they called it.
the whole leg.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave some of this because this will also be good for, I'll save this. But when I do the roast, I can lay it on top. And allow it to. I really shouldn't be doing that like that, but I was. Well, this is the other piece of the. There's some more stew meat. This done real quick.
I wonder if you could make lamb chili.
Absolutely.
That would definitely be interesting.
Okay. I've got
Or
some
if you
more.
like Korean, a small chopped piece, if you have vindaloo. Mm,
All right, so now we got to look at the grain. When you see how the grain is going this way on this side, you can see this. And this is against the grain. You always want to cut meat against the grain. So we want to go this way on this piece. And that's one of the reasons why I separated it. So
and the
now
reason
I'm going to
you
take some
cut
more.
against the grain.
It makes it more palatable, makes it easier to eat and chew because you're short. Imagine carrying a bunch of sticks. Let's say you got a couple dozen sticks in your hand, they're all together, and you try to break them or take them apart. You can't. But if you cut them into smaller pieces, there's less resistance.
Also, it shreds when you cut it the wrong way
Mm-hmm.
versus turning into a nice
It's
steak.
very chewy. Okay. I got another piece here for the trim table. Okay. Off. Nice. Nice. Some nice kebab meat here. Okay. Then look, see, I've got some really nice looking steaks here. Oop, I missed a bad chef. See
You're
that?
fired.
Thank you.
Anything.
See how nice these are? These are beautiful little steaks. So I got dinner for 5 there. I had 2 more, 7. Plus we've got enough kebab here for another meal. So there's 8. Okay. And that's just from the hip end. Okay. While I turn my back on you, got my little fat pile. Yeah, we'll bring it all back out later and show everybody. Okay, wherever, put it in the fridge if you want.
Hector?
Now, let's bring this other piece back. Now we're gonna get a little more complicated. Okay, so I do want to trim this. There's even a little bit of still some bone in here. I am going to trim some of this butter fat off. See, so you paid, I forget what I paid for this.
Relatively inexpensive.
It was on sale, but so I got 7.5 pounds, but by the time I take all this trim out, I only maybe have, 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds or 7 pounds.
It's still a lot of meat.
Yeah, but the cost increases. You got to take your total cost and then divide it by how many usable pounds you got, and you'll find out what you really paid. That's why when the butcher does it for you, he's going to charge you. Because
he's not going to give you the fat back.
No. Okay. Putting this up a little bit. Go. And your boning knife will do most of the work for you.
Yes, it's sharp.
This one is very sharp. Yes.
Remember, knives need to be sharp.
Yep. Especially boning knives like these.
Because even when you cut yourself, it's a pretty clean cut. Hopefully that never happens to you. Dull knives have a tendency to shred you instead of cut.
Well, they also don't go where you tell them to. That's why you get cut, because they don't. You have to struggle. Okay, so you get the idea here, right? Okay, got a couple pieces here. I don't want this piece. That, and then the inside, there was that, where was I? Right here and there. No, it was up here. It was a, I'll find it. The butcher left something hard inside the lamb, like a little, it was a little chip, a bone chip. I think I trimmed it off. Oh, no, here's some. Okay,
But can you take the boards? to make it happen?
nope, not yet. I'm going to finish with this, okay? I'm done with that. Thank you. Okay, so now we have a nice usable piece. I'm going to stuff it, so, there we go. Now I found it, right there in the middle. Nice hard piece of that. Another one. So I'm going to have to, I want to spread this out. I want to have more room, and I want to make it kind of even. So I'm going to start cutting across. Don't need to cut through, but I want to be able to lay it open, roll it back, to thin it out a little bit. I see some silver skin, things like that. I'm going to take it out while I go. That gets a little chewy. Okay. This I'm going to take off and put into my trim pile. Have that. Okay. So you're good.
It takes a long time to trim and lay it flat. So that's why it's worth, if you're not that skilled, to let the butcher do it for you. Tell them what you want done.
Piece. You see how it's just, I just keep going. My knife's angled down a little bit and just keeps, spreading open. This is what we want. Okay. Take the piece that I already did. I can open that up a little bit more. Okay. I think we're looking pretty good, honestly.
This one a little bit.
No, I thought about it. It's somewhat thick here. And I've got all these little sub muscles in the leg. So you take these little pieces out that don't seem to work, put them right there. There. Okay. Fold it back. It'll be a nice finishing flat. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
Now, got a nice piece real thick in the center here. I do want to remove some of this whole fat. But remember, what stays in is going to melt, and it's going to help the flavor and to keep the roast juicy.
You could
Okay.
do this with a rump roast beef if you really wanted to, correct?
So.
You are.
Oh, once again, the other camera. We have to turn it off. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys know, I'm sorry to turn my back on you. That was my medication alarm that we all, hopefully, a lot of us use. Would you? So the stuffing, this is going to be a wonderful lamb. If you talked earlier about it, Some people don't like that strength. Maybe just lamb is a little bit different. So we're going to fill it with spring herbs, fresh herbs. In here, I've got about a half a cup of fresh parsley, a cup of fresh mint that I took off the stems. And I've got some shallot. We're hoping this is all going to go. And some thyme and some rosemary. I know. I'm going to need I have it already. And I'm going to then start to chop it. I'm going to add a little lemon juice and some olive oil in order to, help make more of a paste. Now, again, this will be the first time I've used this instrument. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's it. But just puree it up. You have a food processor, you can do a food processor. You can do it in your blender. Oh, you took it away.
You didn't have to turn your back.
I did. Stop for a second. Hold that. Thank you. Rest of it in here. All right, here we go.
I don't know if you recall, but we had a purple stick blender. The stove ate it.
Yeah, that happens. Right. Okay, so we have a pesto here, basically. It's a mint pesto. Okay. Take that out of the way. Thank you. Come back with my lamb. So I got the olive oil in there, got some lemon, all the herbs, pepper, shallot, okay, garlic if you want. A lot of people love garlic with their lamb. If you don't like it,
Or you
Don't need
can't
to.
eat it. You can
Right.
use onion, or you could
I said
use.
use the shallot.
Shallot.
I did put shallot in here for that purpose. So to take this, I don't think I need all of it, honestly. No, I got hands. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. And we're just gonna spread this everywhere. You want to taste it?
Delicious.
Yeah, this would be really good, guys. We've done this. Well, Mindy and I did. Gosh, we made this for when we were first married, living in a small house in East Lansing in 1979. And it was we were sharing, it was a little duplex. And there wasn't enough room for family. We had a family dinner. And so everybody ate outside. We set up tables out in the yard, had a nice yard, and we made this lamb roast. It was the first time. Now, this is going to have to marinate for at least 24 hours. So I'm not going to roast it tonight. Okay. I think we got enough in there. I can put some more on the outside when we're done.
I think we might be able to cook off those.
No,
Share a piece of meat,
no,
steak.
no.
No.
Maybe you want it for dinner afterwards, is what you're saying. You want lamb chop.
Giving him
Okay.
subtle hints. He's not taking them well.
Right. So now I'm going to hold these in. Turn this so I can do it right. And take this baby and just start holding it and rolling it. And the stuff's gonna swish out, but who cares? Okay, make it kind of tight so we get even cooking. Okay. All right. I say I've got a nice cylindrical shaped roast, which is what I want. Okay. I don't want it to be fat in one area and skinny in the other, or it's not going to cook evenly. Now, with both rolled and tied, so I'm going to have to retie it. Now, which is really pretty easy.
You could have kept the mesh and slipped it down.
I mentioned that, but this would be too small for that mesh. This is for that bigger piece. So all we got to do, here's the easy way, honestly. There are others. I usually use one long piece of string and then just keep twisting and making the knot, pulling under, but this is actually a little bit easier. Now, when you do this with your string, you want to make sure it stays nice and tight. Put it through twice, once, twice. And that way, the spring doesn't let go. It never
Just like
loosens.
if you go fishing a lot.
Yep. So we're going to do that. Okay, do the next one. Want this thing nice. And why do I want to tie it? Well, two reasons. One, I don't want it to fall apart, right, when it roasts. Oops, let's put that other one in there. And two, it makes, again, more
Consistent.
more consistent, more even. So again, we get even cooking. Okay.
It looks yummy.
Awesome. At least we'll have dessert tonight and not dinner.
Mhm.
We never get to eat until we're done. I mean, it's early. Okay. There we go. Keep going. Save that long one. Okay, tie it up. Okay, I think I might want one more down that end.
I think you might want to go lengthwise.
I'm going to.
You
Thank you
are.
very much, Steph, Mindy,
Thank you.
for telling me what to do.
I love telling you what to do.
That's why I have another string over here. Say. Oh, all right. That together. Okay. Now, trim all my strings. Not in that? Yeah, I did. Okay. Double checking myself. Couple more.
Well, you could put the long string underneath it. as you
I can
tie
do it
together.
either. I could, yeah. So you want to try to pull it all together. So this is why I do it the other way, because I automatically have the weave, exactly.
Mhm.
Come on. I can't, my little fingers aren't working here.
That's the difference.
Yes, I know I don't.
Oh,
Maybe. Here, we'll just go this way. There we go. Oh. And just keep going till we tie it off.
you do notice it takes us a little longer from the other shows because we're teaching you a whole new skill today.
Yeah, teaching myself a whole new skill today. I've done this before, guys. I give myself enough to do this? Probably not.
You did.
Mhm.
Just barely, but yes, you did.
Yeah.
Mhm. I might have to take one of these pieces and retap it.
Yeah, a little bit. Put your finger there. Thanks.
Don't hurt me.
'Cause I can't do the double knot there. I don't have enough string. That was story of my life. I was a couple inches short.
Shh. Don't tell your secrets. Want some help?
Sure, you can do that.
Oops. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, pull really tight. There you
Yeah, shredding.
go. Okay. Try again. Here we go. Oh, there you go. You got it. Pull it through. All right. Okay. There we go. Lovely BRT roast. Now, I can take some of this extra and just, not going to waste my filling here. Let this thing marinate for at least 24 hours, maybe even 48. We'll see.
Would you
Okay.
like some?
And then when I do want to, when I'm going to roast it, one of the recipes that when we did it before, we did put some red wine in it. Don't really need it. In fact, for the people I'm going to serve it to, I don't want the winey flavor. It was red wine. And we marinated it
Yes,
in
we did.
red wine and butter, actually, if you remember. Okay.
That was against my wishes as a young dietitian.
Yeah.
Will that
So-
fit in this gallon?
It might. Pull one out and we'll see. Now we'll just put it in the pan. It should fit.
We're gonna try to squeeze it into the gallon.
Okay. Goes. Angle it. Okay. Not here. What you doing?
The zip, so it'll
Okay.
zip shut.
Okay. Let me continue here. Not many messes with that. I don't have to watch you do that. That's okay. I'm gonna come off screen for a second. I want to show you something. I wasn't prepared.
Yes, you were.
Yes. Okay. When it's time to roast this, I am going to glaze the outside so I get a nice crust. You can season the outside before it goes in, little cracked pepper. Okay, we're not gonna use any sea salt, but put some cracked pepper on there. And then as it cooks, I'm gonna use, hopefully that is in view properly, pomegranate molasses. So this is basically pomegranate juice that has been cooked down into a thick syrup. It's really wonderful for cooking, and it will give that lamb roast a beautiful deep red hue when it's roasting and comes out of the oven. And it also form the sugars in this will form a nice crust. So it's really nice. This is very, very thick stuff. We have Mindy likes to make this chicken dish with pomegranate molasses and walnuts and some braised chicken, and it's absolutely delicious as well. You usually find this in Middle Eastern stores. Some of the mainstreams, I think I've seen it in Walmart before and some other, everybody's starting to really carry more ethnic, the ethnic items are growing. So, but this is great. What I'm gonna try to do, since we're not gonna see the end result of this, is tomorrow, or when I do decide to cook this thing, I'm going to take pictures, maybe even do some video and upload that so you can see the finished product when it's all done. And we'll kind of have a part 2 that we'll do. And I'll give you links to those videos. Okay. And that is mostly, well, we're waiting on the clafouti to go.
Which is looking absolutely wonderful.
Put this away.
One thing we did when we moved is we have switched to glass containers.
Yep, we're really trying to reduce our use of plastics.
When we first got married, we did not use any glass. Then there was the thing called children. The glass started showing up in our kitchen, which looked special and out here. Right behind you, and me, behind me.
There it is, right here. Use my finger for eating it.
Mm.
So. Like to waste, again, now, if you're not a big fan of lamb, no matter what I can try to convince you. But if not, you can use this same filling
I made boneless
with chicken
thighs.
or chicken breast. You can pound out the chicken breast and then spread this on there and roll it up.
Or
and
you could
bake it.
take the bone out of the chicken leg and put it inside the chicken leg.
Right. Maybe I'll show you that one time. That was was my best-selling items in the restaurant that I opened in South Bend, Indiana, back in the 1980s, and it was a boneless stuffed chicken leg and thigh. Formerly known in the French as a ballantine. But you bone out, you remove the thigh bone and the leg bone, and then I can fill it and fold it, and it looks just like a regular chicken leg and thigh, but it's filled with yummy stuff. I used to fill that with spinach and ricotta cheese. It was absolutely delicious. It was our number one item on the menu. While we wait for that, let's tell you a few things that are going on with us and the next time. So next time, which will be the 17th of April at 6 p.m., we are going to be celebrating National Garlic Month. So I know Karen is not going to be able to or want to attend that one because we're going to be.
I want to attend. She just won't eat it.
Right. Well, it depresses her that she can't eat it.
You can always try it
with shallots or other things. Yes. But so we're doing some garlic recipes, like a chicken. Okay, a special chicken. And
with how many cloves?
Well, that's good. With at least with like 40 cloves of garlic.
Yeah, lots of garlic.
Lots of garlic.
We may use some black garlic,
And
which
now
is not common.
Right, this is much more mild. And now that we're here in Michigan, we're also going to celebrate with a Michigan salad, which is something very special with things that are grown in Michigan. Delicious and wonderful. And then I don't think we have the dessert planned if there's going to be one yet. So rest of April looks good. We will be here in May as well. In fact, I do not expect to be missing anymore for quite a while, and continuing to bring you our program. I'm going to turn around. You want to say a few things?
Well, I'm asking, is there any questions
Yeah,
from
who's
anybody
there
that's
tonight?
here?
A lot of people said they were coming by tonight.
Okay,
Josh?
I'm muted. All right, so let's see here. We've got Molly and Velda and Katie and Melissa and Christina and Tom and Brenny and Dean. I don't see any questions. There's some birthday wishes and some surprises there for Tom.
Happy birthday to Tom Downter. Tom is he's a young 30 years old.
Plus.
Yeah, he's not quite 30.
Anymore,
Yes.
as I used to say.
Excuse me while I have my back turned, guys.
So is there any questions or anyone willing to try to go do the lamb leg?
Hey, Molly's she's a cooper.
Christina says that she loves garlic on lamb meat.
Okay,
You said that?
Christina, you can even do it with a rump roast, same technique. You don't like lamb.
Yep, any kind of meat. And if you want to change up the herbs, I mean, remember, I just made a little pesto. Mint doesn't seem to go with what you're making. It'd be interesting in beef, but I don't think it'd be the best choice. But you could substitute that mint with some basil, okay, and do fresh basil and the parsley, the rosemary, and the thyme and the pepper, and you could stuff a tenderloin with that.
Or if you have any leftover pesto, you could, as my grandchildren call it, green spinach, green pasta.
Green pasta, yes, that their mother makes. And it's delicious.
That way They eat every vegetable that they wouldn't normally eat.
Well, if they eat, they're pretty good vegetable eaters, but she takes basically spinach and kale and blanches it and throws it in the food processor, the blender, adds Parmesan cheese to it and a little olive oil, and boom, throws it on top of the pasta, and the kids think it's the world's best thing ever. So,
We want the green pasta.
yep, great stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna finish cutting up some of this meat while we wait.
We've got about 5 more minutes on the dessert. When you're done cooking it, it's best to serve it at room temperature or cold. So we're not gonna cut it today, we're just gonna tease you with
We're
it.
gonna show it.
It smells wonderful. I've never made it with strawberries, but I can just smell the strawberry aroma coming out from the oven.
Yeah. Great. Just some more
Thought
of my,
blackberries were on sale this week, and I thought that would make it really pretty.
yeah, or a mix. Make a fruit of the forest, a fruit of the bosco with blackberries and blueberries and
The
raspberries.
important thing is when you're using the fruit, do not crush it or mash it. That's why we said leave the cherry with pits and then just put a warning on the table. Watch out for cherry pits. Because when you take the cherry pits out, it allows the
Well, the juice,
juice to start leaking out when you put the
and you end up having a
pink.
very pink cake. Oop. Russian lands in the fridge. Okay, here we go. So we took about a $30 piece of meat. I could go in the garbage and look, and turned it into probably 3, 4, 5 meals, probably 4 or 5 meals out of that one piece of meat. So now, rather than just cooking the whole thing off, we've got several things that several days that we can deal with it. That's, planning for the future. We'll probably wrap and freeze some of these things and put them away for another day. Because we love lamb, but not every day of the week. So
Yeah,
got another 8 minutes yet, Mindy? Really?
yeah, give or take.
Maybe we can show it to them before.
I was planning on giving it a couple more minutes.
Okay, we got till 7. So come on, folks, ask some questions. I'm running out of material here.
No questions?
Molly says, I'll try it, but I'll get it from the butcher. She's definitely going to try Mindy's dessert, lemon zest. Katie says, my dad always cooked lamb in the spring. Yummy. I'll make Mindy's dessert too.
Yeah, the clafouti. The nice thing about clafouti is so quick. You saw how quick she put it together. I mean, it takes 8 to 10 minutes to prepare it. And then, then it's the 45 minutes in the oven. And all you need is a deep dish pie pan to do it.
Or a square
Breaking these-
8-inch pie. It'll take a little bit longer in that size.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's looking pretty good.
I gotta give it another couple minutes.
Okay.
Otherwise, if I pull it out, it might,
Well, it's going to fall anyways. These do puff up.
but I want.
When they bake,
crunch.
and then-
I want it to have that nice golden topping on it.
Okay. Yep. So, but as they cool, they do collapse a little bit, which is normal.
And that's why they say serve it at room temperature
Yep.
or cold.
And either where Mindy's going to put vanilla powder on top or vanilla sugar as a way to serve it. You can put powdered sugar. Vanilla ice cream is a very common go along with this.
Molly, the lemon zest sounds like another fantastic idea.
If you're doing the cherries, almonds are great with cherries. They're, in the food Bible, that's one of the best matches with cherries. Strawberries and lemon, as you say, is another one of the great, very good matches. And mint, we could throw some more mint on there. We got a lot of mint. Do that.
Not with the garlic though.
No, with the pie, with the clafouti.
That's true.
Yes.
But I'm saying you could take the pesto, but no.
No, not the pesto.
Not the pesto.
No, that's not going to do it for that.
Christina says that she's going to share this with her lamb growing friends.
Awesome. I will get the recipe up probably tomorrow on our Facebook files. If anybody wants a personal copy, I will email it to them. Just, you guys know how to get hold of me. Oh, here we go. How's that positioned? Nice. Oh yeah, the room just smells like strawberry jam. Actually, really, really nice. Tilt, no, spilling the whole thing. See that? So it's custardy, but tight. It's very spongy, almost like a, well, like a sponge cake. It's the way it kind
It
of
does
feels.
have a little bit of flour in it.
Yes.
So I'm gonna taunt you, but I'm gonna put it back in the oven for a couple more minutes
Yep.
as we say goodbye.
And then my grandkids will get to enjoy it. Yes. Please. Now that we live up here, we are near family and we'll have our first sleepover night with the grandkids.
That's not true. They stayed with us when we were in Traverse City.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't.
They traveled, they vacationed with
Right,
us.
they didn't, right, so, same thing. So anyways, I'm sure they'll be very happy to make this thing disappear if we don't eat it first. We may take it to the house tomorrow, but all right. So I want to say thank you. We are here on behalf of Aortic Hope, which is a 501c3 that exists totally on contributions and grants. So if you wish, you can go to our page, aortichope.org, and look for donate. And we would appreciate it. It keeps these programs coming to all of you out there. So
Make
this is-
sure you like us on YouTube.
absolutely like us and put those reminders so you never miss a show. They're all out there. So I'm Chef Rob Seltzer, the Aortic Chef.
I'm Mindy Seltzer, the aortic dietitian, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Good night.